And so as you get down in light level, the rods start firing, and they're in the periphery. And that's why your pupil has to dilate to get more light into those rods. And that's why when you're seeing right now, your pupils are constricted, and you're focusing it down on that fovea. Okay? And that's why as it gets darker, you lose that well-defined line sharpness between things, and things go into grays and blacks.
What do some drugs cause you to dilate your pupil?
Some drugs do? That's a central nervous thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's affecting the autonomic nervous system. And so you're having an effect that way, so you're actually getting sympathetic input when you're dilating your pupils.
So one of my mom's eyes is permanently dilated. Does that mean that those cones were damaged, or? I
don't know, there's a lot of things that can cause that. I have no idea. Something's wrong with her though. Somebody smacked her real hard. Okay, so what do you think the purpose of this pigmented layers are here? Kind of alluded to it before. Yeah, like the pigmented part of the retina, this darker stuff, and the pigmentation in the choroid. Absorb scattered light. Yeah, it's just like if you're in a dark room trying to develop film. It's dark because you don't want light bouncing off a wall and coming back and now activating the film. Same thing. You don't want light bouncing here and coming back and reactivating those rods and cones. That's going to give you a blurred vision. This is where albinos have problems. They don't have this pigmentation here. And so they're very sensitive to light. And you blue-eyed people that you're talking about, that's the other issue. You don't have as much dark pigment there. And so you're going to be more sensitive to light than other people. Okay? So that's the purpose for this.
Does that mean that we can see a little bit better at night?
No, that's the rod. No, this is just preventing scattered light from coming back and reactivating. So here's those three layers, you guys. Here you can see the light coming through the cornea, anterior chamber, posterior chamber or cavity, anterior cavity, through the lens in the posterior cavity, and then that fovea centralis. So you should be able to answer that in the question. You know, what if I gave you a bunch of choices, you know, in a multiple choice? You know, the light shining through, what layers is it going to go through to get to the retina? Cornea, lens, you know, posterior cavity, anterior cavity, that type of thing. So here's that nervous tunica, the vascular, and the fibrous. Remember, fibrous tunica is sclera plus the cornea. The vascular tunica is the choroid plus the ciliary body plus the iris. And then the nervous tunica is your retina. Now, what are some of the problems you can see with the retina? Now, what are some of the issues with the retina? Yeah, you get cancer in there anytime. Yeah, that's rare.
I forgot what it's called, but when you have an overdose of vitamin A.
No, there's something like that. I don't know what that is either. Have you ever heard of retinal detachment?
Yeah.
That's where that retina has pulled off of that pigmented epithelium. Sometimes it can actually fold. But what happens as soon as it pulls off, now you're going to start having problems with vision. And so there's special eye doctors called retinal surgeons, and they specialize. And there's one big group here in Sacramento that covers the whole area. There's I think about 8 of them in there, and you can go in and they can reattach your retina for you. You know? Now, retinal detachments have ended some careers because once you get one, you're prone to get another one. You can, and Sugar Ray Leonard was a world contending boxer, was a middleweight champion. I think going for heavyweight. Got a retinal detachment and stopped his career. So it usually is done with trauma.
Oh, I was just going to ask you, how does that happen?
Yeah, it usually gets punched in the head. Yeah. Here's that cornea. Okay. Pupil. There's the edge of the cornea where it meets with the sclera is called the corneal limbus. Okay. That's not in your word list, but I just want you to see that. There's a little opening here called the canal schlemm. And you make that aqueous humor, and it goes to the pupil, and it gets absorbed in the canal of Schlemm. And you're always making aqueous humor, okay? You're always producing it, just like you did at CSF. So what happens if you're making it and now something happens and you're not reabsorbing it quick enough? What happens? You got to get increased interocular pressure. That pressure pushes back gradually on the retina and starts destroying the retina and you can go blind. Does anybody know what that's called? That's glaucoma. Okay? So glaucoma, what they do to diagnose it, if you guys have ever gotten an eye exam, they got this little light slit that comes like that. And one of the things they do, they have you look forward, they come up real close. They used to touch the cornea. They used to have to numb your cornea to do that, but now they have like a little puff of air and it hits it. And it measures your intraocular pressure. Okay? So it measures your intraocular pressure. And if it's too high, you're going to now have to take medication that reduces the production of that or helps absorb it. Okay? So this is kind of cool. One of the companies, one of the big drug companies, was developing a glaucoma medication for this to reduce intraocular pressure. And they're putting it in the eyes of people, and they're doing trials. And they just happened to notice that it was starting to grow big lashes. And so, rather than market it as a glaucoma medication, they're making a lot more money marketing it as Latisse for growing eyelashes. You guys heard about that? Yeah. So, you can buy Latisse and start putting it on your eyelashes. And wherever you put it, you're going to start growing. Some women put it on their eyebrows too.
One of the side effects of long use for Latisse is
One
that
of the side effects of what?
when you use it for a long time, is that it turns your pupil brown.
Yeah.
I mean, not your pupil, your
eyelid.
Yeah.
You get increased pigmentation.
No, your iris turns brown. If you have
Yeah.
blue eyes, it'll eventually turn brown.
It can.
Permanently. But it's rare.
So what macular degeneration? You got the answer for it?
Oh, the whole.
Right. So remember we said the macula lutea, that area right there? What happens is you start getting changes in there. It gets inflamed and you start losing central vision. And there's different causes. There's actually called wet macular degeneration dry. I don't understand the whole thing though. But they now have a medication they can inject in there. I got a couple minutes to tell you guys. I'm going to see people start putting.
For just women
For
who
Latisse,
want
no, they were
long
making it for
eyelashes.
glaucoma, and all of a sudden, the side product is we can make a lot more money selling to women for eyelashes than for glaucoma. There's a lot of other glaucoma medications out there. Okay, so hang on with me, guys. Don't run out yet. There's all kinds of different eye diseases, you guys. One thing I want you to take away is when they look in the back of your eye, they can see blood vessels there, okay, that come out from the optic disc. This is the central artery, central vein. This is the only place where you can actually visualize blood pumping through blood vessels in the body is in the back of the eye. And so you can diagnose a lot of systemic diseases by looking in the eye. A good ophthalmologist is as good as any internist in diagnosing things this way, and they will a lot of times diagnose things. Remember, you guys, don't forget your pathways here. And so remember, you have that optic chiasma. So the retina on the nasal side crosses, the temporal side doesn't. And so you end up basically, when you look off to the right, everything is going to go to the left occipital cortex in here. The other thing I want you to remember that you saw here before is that optic nerve, optic chiasma. What are these? Optic tract. They're synapsing in the lateral geniculate nucleus and then going back. You're sending fibers over here to the superior colliculus, okay? And what you're going to see, you're going to send some fibers to the pineal gland. We'll talk about later. And remember, the superior colliculus is involved in visual reflexes.